Good evening, good evening, good evening. I don't know if you guys can hear me. Um, so, just sitting and kind of thinking on different things as I go through. So, I myself am learning some things and going through some different classes and continuing to do work on me. But as I came across this a couple of days ago, it's kind of pressed upon me to share. So, here I am. Those of you, most of you in here know me or of me, I should say. Because not many people really know me. But I am originally from Florida. A lot of people that I know I've met through jobs and transition. There are those that do know me back from early childhood. Some know me being family, and others know me in different parts of my transition on my journey to where I am now. So, just to give a little bit about me and why I started this page, I am a survivor of many things, survivor of abuse, survivor of neglect, survivor of wrong choices, survivor of failed marriage, survivor of failed relationships. I use the word survivor because I refuse to identify as a victim. Although there are certain situations and circumstances that we go through or have come through where we may justifiably in our mind label ourselves as victim. I made the choice early on not to be that. So having gone through quite a bit in childhood, quite a bit in early adulthood, at some point started making decisions that were for my benefit. Long journey, because right now I'm just now getting to a point where I'm realizing there are some things that I have done or made decisions on or committed to as it pertains to my career that should have or I could have applied to personal areas of my life. So here I am, definitely embarking of a journey of evolution, evolving into a better me. And that's a daily decision. So started this page as a way to share my journey from where I've been, where I am now, and even where I go future state in hopes that it will help someone along the way. Not necessarily help with abuse if that works or that is a thing that you need. Then definitely the things that I share can be applied to that area, but also it can be applied to lifestyle. It can be applied to career and or job choices. It can be applied to every area of life. So just sharing my journey in hopes that it will help someone become a better version of them in any way, shape, or form that's possible. So 3 phases of change. I'm reading a book and it talks about mindset and how we make decisions based on where we are mentally, where we view ourselves, how we see ourselves. And that kind of dictates where we are or where we go in life. So what I noted, the book kind of describes the 3 different types of people or mindsets. But the revelation that I got, or the realization that came to me, is there are definitely, these are not just a way to identify the different groups or categories of people, but it definitely identifies the phases that come with change. So that's what that meant to me. And again, I came across this probably late last week, and just kind of pondering and meditating on what it really meant to me and how to apply. Just want to share. So, three phases of change. And again, this applies to any area of life, whether it be personal, whether it be career wise, whether it be relationship, again, any aspect. I've learned that I apply these three phases as it pertained to me and where I was going, job and career. But I'm at different phases when it comes to different areas. So personal life, I'm just now at the third phase. Again, I've gone through all three as far as it pertains to career. But personally, I'm at the third phase, and I'm just like, wow, like I really went through all three of these phases of change or evolution, if I can use that word. So the first phase is want. So we all, we go through things. We are children and we have this thought, or I want to be, or I want to do, or I want to have. And basically wanting, or the word want, means to have a desire. Have a desire to be something, have a desire to do something, or have a desire to acquire something. It's just basically having a desire. So to want change is to have a desire for change. So for me, and I'll use, because I've gone through all three phases in career, I'll kind of share. I started out single mom, 4 kids, didn't know how I was going to take care of them. And I was doing okay with where I was, but I knew it wasn't enough. So I wanted more. I wanted more income to be able to do more things with my children, to be able to provide more in the realm of stability and things of that nature. So for me, starting out, I went into the military, and that was met with some challenges in personal life. So I ended up having to, do early discharge, come home, and in the midst of making some personal choices that were not conducive, I kind of settled on, well, let's go back. So I got out, and as a hospital corpsman, like I had the training to be a nurse and to do all of the things that nurses do. Like I was that in the military. I come home and find out that I would have to literally go into school and do the whole entire nursing program, and what I felt like was starting over. And at the time, having small children, that wasn't an option for me. So I did the little couple of weeks course to be a CNA, and that is where I started. I got out, did the CNA, and I did pretty okay being a CNA. Anybody that's a CNA knows that it's very hard work. It's physical. You have to have a passion to want to take care of people, because that is literally what it is. Like you are literally taking care of people that are not able to. And I was okay with that, because as a child, I always wanted to go into the medical field. So that was okay for me. That was a thing that was rewarding. I started out doing that, and I did that for a number of years. Nursing home, transitioned into agency work, and transitioned into hospital work. But throughout that, it still was not enough. For the responsibilities that I had, it definitely was not enough, and that wasn't the ceiling for me, and I always knew that. The funny thing is, in my personal life, that was where I was in my personal life was all I saw. Like personally, I didn't have the want for change, or maybe I shouldn't say I didn't have the want for change. I didn't know that it was possible. So career-wise, motivated, had drive, and just made a decision that at that point, I wanted to change. I wanted more. So at that phase, career-wise, that's what I did. I had the want and desire. So from that, I made a decision. I made a choice, which is the second phase. So the first phase is want. You have to have a desire for something to change in order to move forward with that. So at the point of desire wasn't enough for me. I made the change. I made the choice that I was going to go forward with the change that I wanted. So to choose something is to decide on a course of action. So I started out wanting more, and then I made a choice. I made a decision to go forward in a course of action. And for me, of course, that was applying for jobs outside of where I lived. It didn't matter where. Like, totally didn't matter where I went, as long as it provided the change that I wanted, which was more income. So I made the choice, decided on the course of action, got my resume together, put in applications. And at the time, I put in applications all over the country and even outside of the country. Yes, I have small children. At this point, I think my youngest of 4 was getting ready to turn 6. So she was getting ready to be school age. So for me, I made the decision that was prime time, because they are all going to be in school. I can work during the day, and, I would be able to manage that. So made the choice, did all the applications, and of course, there was some prayer in that and meditation, so that I would know that the decision that I made on whatever job was in line with where, on where in the journey I was to go. So in that aspect, I made the choice to do all the different applications. I did that, and I was selected for 2 separate positions. One was still within the state that I lived in, and the other was all the way in New Mexico. Now, didn't know anyone in New Mexico, had no idea of how this was going to happen, if that was the selection that was destined for me, or even how things would fold out. So just at the time, I had a true strong circle of people that were in touch and in tune with both me and God, and we prayed and conversed, and really I had to know, like, I had a desire to know what it was that was truly in line with where I was to go. Not wanting to go blindly, although on the outside looking in, that was a blind decision. I could see how people would take that perception. So the choice ended being New Mexico. Packed up my 4 children in a car, and whatever we could fit in that car, that is what we took. And when I say furniture and everything, we had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that we were renting. I gave everything away in that house. Gave it away. Because at the time I was at a point where I knew, because of other things that I'd already been through and gone through in life, I knew that provisions will be made. I knew that if I took this step, that everything would fall into place, because truly the faith and the belief was that if I have made it through all of the different struggles and situations that I had in my personal life, that truly God, the creator, who takes care of the birds and the green on the grass, and those of you that know Bible scripture, even if I go into another realm of cause and effect, because I truly made the effort and did the work, that God or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, would definitely take care of whatever I needed, because I was in line. I didn't have ill will towards anybody. Forgiveness was a huge part of that for me. So making the choice, and New Mexico it was. So I went from wanting more to making a choice to be in alignment with what that more looked like. And me and three of the four small children went to New Mexico. I want to make sure I clarify that. So we all went loaded in the car with my mom, who went with me for 2 weeks to help us get settled, not knowing where I was going to live. I think I might have had $600 in my pocket. Made that choice because I wanted more. I won't say that this is going to be everybody's story or everybody's journey, but this definitely was mine. $600 to my name, three good little girls in the car with only the clothes that we could fit in the car with us in there. And when I say we had the car loaded, the trunk was loaded. We were sitting on pillows. Excuse my dog. We were sitting on pillows. We were, whatever we could fit in the car. And for me, it was because that was the choice. And this brings into the third phase of change. So I wanted change. I made the choice to change. And then I became committed to that change. For me, that commitment was no matter what, I was going and I was going to do what I set out to do. Fear wasn't a thing for me at that time. Not to say that I didn't have a little thing in the back of my mind that said, well, how are you going to feed them? Because again, mind you, jobs orientation started in one city, Albuquerque, New Mexico. And then the job was 4 hours away from Albuquerque in Silver City, New Mexico. So I had to spend the first week in Albuquerque, hotel fees, food costs, all of that good stuff I had to afford. Was not getting a first check until 2 weeks. Don't know where I'm going to stay. Don't know what's going to happen. I just know within me, I knew that this was it because I was committed to that choice that I made for change. In commitment, there's no fear. You cannot be afraid of what might happen if. In commitment, there's dedication and loyalty to the choice that was made. So I went from wanting more, choosing more, and then being committed to that more. Now, I say this and I'm using the example for me and the choice that I made or the commitment that I made to better career. But this can be applied, and I'm learning, applied to personal life. What does that mean? That means if you come from a background where circumstances weren't conducive to being successful or being a whole person emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, at some point, you grow up and you get into what we call life as an adult, and you decide or you see that there are people for me, it was seeing people in relationships where as a young girl growing up in the different areas and with and around different family members, I never saw a full-on successful marriage. I never saw that. My mom, my aunts, even my uncles, and even the one relationship that I saw or two that I saw, there was so much chaos and turmoil within those relationships. So I never saw a whole and fulfilling relationship. I became a young adult and I started being introduced to people that were in those types of relationships. And I often looked and wondered, and even up until 30s, looking and saying, how is it that they have this? When I had to identify within myself that I never saw that growing up. So for me, it was never a thing that I could see myself in. That's something that I realized later on in life, that I never saw it. So to me, it wasn't something that was possible. But I will say, it is a want. It is a choice. And at this stage in my life, making a commitment that any relationship that I'm in on a personal level, I'll be committed to, but part of that is committing to the change within myself. So going back to the job and the career. I got to where I am now. I started out there. So I made that commitment to going to New Mexico. In that, there's a whole lot of things that transpired and things that let me know that I was on the right path. And I'll talk about that story at another time. But for me, there is fast forward probably 10, going on probably 15 years. I think it's about somewhere in between 10 and 15. I'm about to hit that 15-year mark. But there's a lot of things that I would not have experienced, a lot of things that I would not have been able to do as far as providing for my children, as far as exposing them to different things, had I not been committed to the choice or even having the want for better. So I say all of that to say there are stages, or like some people say, there's levels to this shit. There really is. There's levels to any and everything in life. There's levels to change in you as a person. There's levels to change as it pertains to you in relationships. There's levels to change in career. There's levels to change, period. But one thing that always is constant is change. So what you do with those changes, how you mentally prepare or how you perceive those, is, I think, where the biggest challenge is. So hopefully we get to a point where we want more than where we are. I want more for myself as an individual as it pertains to just being. So because I've been through the abuse as a child on multiple levels, I've been through having abandonment issues. I've been through having mommy and daddy issues. I've been through having being a single parent. Because of the mindset that comes from some of those experiences, I can honestly say that as a person now, I realize, as a woman now, I'm realizing that in order to survive those, I lived in masculine energy. In order to survive those, I was always a person. I didn't know what it was to be a girly girl. That wasn't a thing for me. Sometimes still now is a challenge. But I'm getting better. So that's one of the changes that I'm deciding to make as an individual, as it pertains to using these three phases in a different area. I lived in masculine energy because I always had to take care of. I always had to be the provider. I always had to make those tough decisions and doing it alone. So now I'm learning, okay, so the same thing that I applied in my life as it pertains to my career, I applied to other areas. We'll say the first thing though has to be is you have to want it, and you have to work on the mindset. So mindset, want, choose, and commit to whatever that choice is. I shared this, and I'll be sharing a little more, maybe live, maybe not. If you follow this page, I have created an Instagram, planning on doing morning affirmations on Instagram, not so much on Facebook, but just wanted to share 3 stages of change that I went through and that I'm applying to different areas of my life. So again, I'll run over those really quick. You have to want change. Want is to have a desire. You have to have a desire to want something more or to be something more. Choose. You have to choose the change that you're going to make. You have to make a choice that I'm going to apply a course of action, whatever that course of action is. And then you have to be committed to that choice. There's a whole lot of things that come along with those. And I think maybe that is where I'll start as a group in reference to those different things and what goes into them. So again, Phoenix Tribe, This is a group about, or a page, to encourage, to rise above what I call ashes, those dead things, those areas where you've been burnt and hurt emotionally, physically, and even those things that we've been burnt or hurt from, of our own makings, things that are of our own makings and things that are not. So hopefully me sharing a bit about some of where I've been and how I've got to where I am now. And even where I'm going, because I'm not done yet. When I say I am just getting started, and I'm ever so grateful for the things that I've been through, that have led me and prepared me for this right now. If you haven't already, you can go and learn a little bit about my story from my blog page. It's EgyptianPhoenix.com. I also have, like I said, an Instagram page, and I'm just going to start sharing and hoping that someone can pick up some nuggets along the way to assist with their change. So, Phoenix Tribe, I want to say thank you for listening. If you are listening on the replay of this live, definitely drop a comment and let me know. Give me some comments and or feedback. If you would, that would be most helpful. And I hope that this has helped someone that is on their journey to restoration and evolving into a better them. That takes a lot, so I encourage you to not stop. Never give up on you. Whatever it is that you have decided, whatever your vision for yourself is, put in the work. It's hard work, but it is so worth it. Ever so worth it. So when I say I'm able to sit here and smile as I think about the different things that I've been through, there is joy, because there's so many people that are stuck in a negative space. So many people stuck in defeat. So many people stuck in I'll never be, or I can't. So hopefully this will be a space, a safe space for people to share and grow, because that is the goal for all of us, to share and grow from our different experiences. I definitely along the way will share and hopefully can have some of those people that have poured into me along my journey. I love you guys. I especially love those that have loved on me along the way, knowingly or unknowingly. And I thank you for taking the time to listen. And again, drop me a comment. Give me some feedback on what was just shared, if it helped, if it didn't. Hopefully future state, some things that I share will be of most help, because that is the purpose for this, is empowerment and love, and for us to get the wind beneath our wings to be able to rise. I chose the phoenix because it symbolizes surviving. It symbolizes power. It symbolizes eternity and being oneness with self. There's only one phoenix, as the story goes, that's alive at any moment in time. So if you will take from what that specific symbol means to you and allow it to empower you to be filled with love and joy, and go through this evolution that we have called life, because we start out as infants not knowing anything and soaking up energy and knowledge, and then experiences happen and we transition so many different times in life. So hopefully as I go through my journey or continue on my journey, I can help some of those that are now where I was. And hopefully we will all connect with people that are where we aspire to be. So as we go on this journey, I want to say thank you. And again, leave some comments and feedback. And thank you for allowing me to share. Thank you for time, because we don't get time back. And if anything, we should focus and dedicate our time on things that are helpful in our growth process. So again, thank you. Love you, Phoenix Tribe, and looking forward to the evolution of you. Have a good one.